Welcome to our weekly Q&A show where we answer submitted questions live on YouTube on Tuesdays at 2 p.m.
Well, happy Tuesday, Aaron. How you doing, man?
Great. How about yourself?
Doing good. You got to rub the sunscreen in before the show.
It doesn't rub in. That's how
You
you
look
know
like
it works.
you look like a clown. All you should add a red nose to that whole thing.
My parents get irritated because every time they want to see the grandkids in FaceTime, I'm always like white face, and they're like,
man.
"Come on!" And I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna go back outside. After this, I got to go back outside, so I might as well keep it on to protect myself."
Yeah, whatever. So everyone, welcome to the show. This is where Aaron and I answer questions that you've submitted. We don't have an official place to submit them. So if you want to submit a question for a future show, good luck. Someday we'll make an official place to submit them. You can hopefully just email Aaron or me or contact us somehow. But we're working on a proper way to be given questions for the show. But the best way is just to watch the show if you can live and ask us questions on the spot. So that's why I do the show, is just to answer questions. We do this almost every Tuesday live at 2 p.m. And yeah, with that, do you want to get started, Aaron? Do you want to banter at all? Or are you just ready to jump into this?
Well, I don't know how many questions do we have today.
We have three, and so the way it works is if people ask us questions, sometimes our office says, "Hey, watch the show, and there'll be answers." You want to start with the answers, and then we can banter at the end.
Let's do that first. Just out of respect for these people. They've probably been waiting for all week to get answers to the questions and don't want to hear us like yawn on about something else random. So let's do it.
Before we do, I have one thing to yawn on about. We have a new member, Mike. Thanks for being a member, Mike. We appreciate it. Appreciate the support. And one thing we do to thank members, and to be a member, you just pay a couple bucks a month. We appreciate the extra dough. And with donating applause, what's that comment? Anyway, back to this. If somebody, we usually do trivia questions, you can win a prize. Unfortunately, our trivia questions are awful. So I thought if a member can help us answer a question in a way we think is effective, we'll give you a prize. We'll just pick out your answer and give you a prize. Does that sound good?
I think if something goes above and beyond, like, whoa, that's a great answer to that question.
Yeah. If it's
it's got to be like, it's got to be something where we're like, it's impressive. It's like, whoa, man, they added a lot of value with that,
Okay, yeah. If you add some value with your answer as a member, we'll send you a prize. Just so everybody knows, part of the reason I do this show is people ask me these long, complicated questions that I don't even know the answers to a lot of the time. That's why I need Aaron's help or the other members. So this isn't just us answering questions or me answering questions. This is our attempt to get the best answer to a question that you have. And so the prizes this week, Aaron, first, we have an emergency blanket. That's a possibility. We still have this SDG river ladder. This is still available. You can choose from that. We still have lots of Cobra Orlocks, a pair of Cobra Orlocks, or Tim Palmer's beautiful coffee book, Rivers of Oregon. Those are the prizes you can choose from for members who answer a question.
Zach, I feel like we need to have a second intro with all the prizes because the prizes are going to be around forever. We might as well just make a permanent the intro guy talking about them, and potentially, and then there'll be some new ones that we'll add to the list that people take. But the Cobra Orlocks, the ladder, and Tim Palmer books. I don't know how many. You seem like you've got a bunch. You got a box of his books or something. Which is
I have some books. Cool. Yeah, I mean it's a great book. So I have copies I'd like to give to people that I like. And don't like, I guess, I don't know, people. But Aaron, the Cobra Orlocks, I was just on a trip where all the commercial guides were running Cobra Orlocks. So I could be totally wrong. They could be awesome. I just, watched all the commercial guides running Cobra. So our guides don't like them, but I know the other guides may. So these might be, I'm not a big fan, but you might love them. So this is an opportunity to win.
Why do your guides dislike the Cobras?
Because the oars can go so vertical. And so if you're standing, that makes sense, I think.
Why is it a problem if they can go vertical?
Like, the problem when you're like running big water and the oar goes vertical and gets twisted, you can't really access it. You'd rather have it pop.
Yeah, but I mean the regular ones, it gets stuck at a certain point anyways. You have the same problem.
It doesn't get stuck, it pops out.
Oh, you'll get stuck in there sometimes too. Or it'll pop
sometimes, but usually with the Sawyer A's, it just pops out. So I think they'd rather have it pop out than have it go so vertical. And I think that they just, and let me show you this. We've did this before. Why are we covering this topic again? But I think with how rounded this is, like this in here is, it's too much give for the oar. The oars just don't fit really. Our oars, at least commercially, don't fit well. And my theory is these were designed for fishing and they got applied to whitewater. I think they're really good if you're using like oars where you're standing up on a drift boat and pushing a lot, or pushing above your head. But for whitewater, none of our guys liked them. I bought these like 10 years ago and said, guys, guess what? Here's this awesome thing. I'm going to buy you the best oar locks possible. And they all used them and didn't like them. Yep. Aaron. Yeah. Smart. Yep. I would get the A's. I think they're great. The canyons are pretty cool too. The canyon are pretty cool too. Conscious citizen. Yeah. I'll get your easy question. Yeah. Just Google Makita raft blower. You'll find my video about it. Makita raft blower. And in the comments, it'll say the guy's email, Kelsey, to order it. Okay, you ready for this first one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Is a Longhorn frame a good choice for a mini max? I want to paddle the passenger for 200 pounds up front as comfortable as possible. I also want to be able to set it up to run by myself. So I don't even know if they make Longhorn frames that fit the mini max. Let me Google it right now. Switch to this. So here we are. Interesting Longhorn frame.
I'm going to go back to you want a 200 pounder in the front of your mini max and you want to row them down the river. Oof. That does not sound good.
So there's the narrowest width is 48 inches wide. It's a high side mini max. How wide are these things?
Internal width.
It would be like the width from the top of the boat to the top of the boat. View specs.
I mean, you're more worried about the part that comes down in. That part, the width on that part.
5 foot 2 inch width. So what's 5 foot 2 inch width? That's 62 inches.
Yeah.
And then the interior width is 26 inches. So that seems really weird. It's 62 inches wide and the interior width is only 62 inches. That means the tubes take up 26 inches. So they're 13-inch tubes. Am I doing that right? No. This seems weird to me. So there's 62 inches.
The tube diameter is 18 inches. Isn't that what they say?
Okay. Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry, I did my math wrong. So that's right. So they're 36. So you'd subtract 18 from 62, you get 46. So you'd want a 46-inch wide frame.
Wait. What did you just do? What math did you just do? Back up.
Okay, so because I'm trying to just figure out the top of the tube to the top of the tube.
Yep.
So you take the width minus twice half the tube diameter, which is just a tube diameter. So
because you want
62 inches wide boat minus 18 inches.
You want in the middle of the top. Okay, cool.
If you want it in the middle of the top.
Yeah.
So let's say, what did I say, 46 inches? Didn't they say it has a 48-inch tube? Yeah, there's a 48-inch version. They're back ordered, so it seems like it would work. I don't see why it wouldn't.
And then how big is the lower part though on it? I would worry about that fitting in there too.
Oh, depth wise?
Yeah, the kick bar. It should be fine. It looks like it should be fine.
I mean, that's our best guess.
But that definitely was a problem with our creek frames sometimes, is you'd have to like jam them down into the boat when it got to a smaller boat.
Yeah, I think it'll work. I mean, yeah, as we know, these kick frames are usually sitting up pretty high from the floor. So that's my best guess. I don't know. If anybody has the answer here, if anybody's used the NRS Longhorn frame with a high side mini max and can answer this, you could win a prize here. Help us out here with this answer. So, sure, seems like a good choice to me. I think the tough choice is a passenger to 200 pounds.
But and where you're sitting, I would say I would be sitting my frame back of center definitely in that case.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because like otherwise you're going to be like this front heavy and it's going to be really hard turning. But if you put your weight in the back a little bit more, you'll flatten it out a little bit more and make it run nice.
Where's that person going to sit? Like maybe leave the front thwart inflated?
It sounds like I'm envisioning them just sitting on the front thwart, which is kind of an awkward spot to sit because you can fall backwards really easily. Like sitting on the front thwart is not that secure of a spot because you can't hold in front and behind you very well versus if you sit off to one side and then you're sitting on one side. That's why I was like, oh, if you're sitting on one side, then they can hold on better, but then they're on one side and your boat's like, going like at an angle. Like that's a tough that's a tough row right there. You know, and I know you want whoever
Yeah.
that person is, you probably really care about and want to get them on the river, and that's cool. But that's some work. You know, it's not, the boat's not going to track well. It's going to be challenging. So, yeah.
Tomas says it works. Hey Tomas, do you take a person too? Can you take a person in the front?
There we go.
Because I think our Storm is pretty much the same as the Minimax, right? Rocky Mountain Raft Storm. Yeah, 10.5. Yeah, so with the same, I mean, this is what it looks like with the thwarts. Can you put a frame in the back and have somebody sit up front? That's the question.
Yeah.
I said, hard part of sizing. Yeah, the oars and the towers, I think, is tough.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the question is, we all know the frame fits. Can you get the frame in there and have a passenger? What does that look like?
Oh, you can. I'm sure if it's got two thwarts, they're sitting in front of the front thwart.
It just seems like it'd be sitting really far back.
Yeah, you'd want to be pretty far back.
But rowing from the back is awkward, especially in a small boat.
A little bit, but you can swing your load in front of you. Like we used to do a lot of that. Like I don't mind that. I'd rather in a raft be back of center than it just allows you to swing your load. Like having that though would be fun. You come in, you can swing your load like around rocks and stuff like that and pivot it well. Like I think it would actually run pretty well like that. I'd be mostly worried about the guy falling if you sit in the middle, you know, on the thwart, or if you see him offset, then it's going to track a little weird.
Man, I think Tomas deserves a prize. What do you think? Is this a prize-worthy answer?
That's interesting. It'd be better to sit on a bench probably than on the thwart, huh? That'd probably be more stable because the thwart
you have to have a bench though.
Yeah, you'd have to have a bench up there. That's an interesting idea. The frame is 55 long and has an extra bar. Oh,
what's the extra bar?
I'm guessing he's talking about more of a like gear frame or something. I don't know.
I mean, Tomas, are you specifically talking about the NRS Longhorn frame, or is it a different frame?
Yeah, I'm not really. I don't.
That's
have
50 inches long. Wait, you're not on this page? Hold on. How do I add this? Oops. This frame is 50 inches long. 55 inches. I think he's using a different frame.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure what Thomas is actually referring to there on that part.
Yeah. Anyway, just getting back to the question. I'm sure it seems reasonable. I mean,
it seems like it'll work. Yeah.
We've never done it. We're just guessing based on everybody's comments. So, do you want to? Hey, Tom, do you think Tomas deserves a prize for his awesome answer?
No, I'm not sure what he's talking about yet.
Okay,
he might. Cool.
Tomas, we need to see a good answer from this next question. Then
I think he needs refinement on this. Like, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about NRS frame?
Right.
The frame is 55 and has an extra.
I don't think it's the NRS frame. I think he's talking about the DR. I think that's the DRE frame that we saw a photo of earlier. Let me see. DRE frame mini max. See if I can Google it. This one right here. This is the downriver frame. Is this up on your screen? Oh, I gotta put it up. This one. Hold on.
Make it bigger, yeah.
Oh, I gotta get back to this. So this may be the frame. This frame is pretty sweet. I just don't think it's the best for that application. This is like a multi-day frame for one person. Because that person would have to sit on the bar.
But that's what he's saying, and that's what Tom was saying, is have a bench on it. I put a bench on that front frame, which is still weird. With just one bar, the bench is going to either be pitched forward or pitched backwards.
How do you put a bench on that frame?
Or you have it really close, and then that's the other problem is if they're close. I mean, it's an interesting frame. I like the other frame better, I think, and I just rather have them separated from it.
This is the frame right here. Check this out. If I can get this to open. That's the frame. That's pretty sweet. Oh, put this with a cooler. Do you see that, Aaron?
Yeah, look how far back they're sitting with that though. Like
that's what I'm saying. That's my point. Is like sitting that far back is kind of annoying. It'd be kind of tough.
Yeah, particularly with that one, I'd want to be a little farther forward on that boat. But you could be a little farther forward and still. I mean, you still have the same space of the person sitting up front. But I just like Yeah, I don't. Maybe that runs well like that. I don't know.
See, I think it runs well. I'd run it a little bit forward myself than what's shown in the photo, but I think that runs well. But with a person in the front too, that's pretty rough. I mean, it kind of depends what kind of whitewater you're running, as well. It's a Banghorn frame we cut down. That makes sense. Yeah, we're sitting on the back tube. What? Oh, on the back. Yeah, see, I think it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be weird. You can mount the seat up there.
Yeah, the seat on the front one. Yeah, for that original. That's a really good idea, Brian. Yeah, totally. Like put a seat, that on that front bar if you're not carrying a bunch of gear and they just sit on that seat. That seems like a pretty good idea. I still find you just don't have a lot of support with your arms to keep yourself in place. And usually the people over 200 pounds are big up here and they're like bowling balls. They like to roll off. And so you just want them to be secure.
You know what boat they need is this boat, the Max 12. Here's my new opinion about this after thinking about it. I personally don't think it's super smart to row. Just looking at the geometry, you can fit a frame in there in a person. I don't think those mini Maxes are meant to be used like that. They're good R1 boats. They're good R2 boats. They're good like super light gear boats for one person.
Yeah, but or rowing just a frame in the middle and you're just running stuff.
I just think that's too much weight in that boat. It's too unwieldy. This boat looks pretty sweet. I've never actually run this boat, but this is the boat that's made for that. If you want a small boat, and this is I think it's.
I kind of agree with you. Small. You want at least a 12-footer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that footer right there.
The Max is smaller than that, right there. It's like 11.
Yeah. That looks like the right size to carry.
You got someone sitting in the front of that. And then you could, like where that red bag is, you could put some bigger dry bags there so the person won't fall back on top of you and they can sit on that front. You could just put some stuff right in that little gap there so you can fall back. That looks like a sick ride right there. Yeah, that looks great.
Somebody's saying they like the Max Pro 12 more than the Max 12. I don't even know the difference. Boats. I see Pro 13. I see a Max 12. Is there a Max Pro 12?
How big was the boat we were just looking at? But how long is that one?
It's 74 in straight tubes. That's like 6 foot 2 inches.
It's 12 feet long. Okay. Yeah, it's 12 feet long.
I mean, 12 foot 2. Oh, 74 in a straight tube. Yeah, 12 foot 2. So, we got to get this question in a minute. Let's finish this up. So I think the answer is, I'm sure the Longhorn frame is going to work. We figured out the geometry, it's going to work. But I would question wanting to row somebody in that boat. It's probably fine on like class 1 or 2. I would be nervous if it was like the middle fork of the Salmon. You'd probably make it down the Rogue fine, but could easily flip somewhere like Blossom. So I would personally avoid it. It's complete stability. Yeah. Yep. That's it. Michael, thanks for the comment. That's super helpful. I agree. I think it's just a little bit rough to put a person in there. And yeah, I'm sure Tim could probably make one. Yeah, just call him. Let's get to this one.
So we want to do this question first and then the other question?
Let's hear. Might as well get to it.
Yeah, let's do this one. I feel like we'll lose it otherwise. And we'll get to that other question. But yeah, let's do it. Any international trips, rivers you all have done and you would do them again or recommend? Oh yeah. Zach, you want to start on this one?
I mean, I'm gonna tell you one thing. I think that in the US we have the best multi-day trips in the world. And you're probably sitting there thinking, why? How is that possible? The U.S. isn't the best. The reason is that the American West was the last place to be conquered by humans, pretty much. So with the Wilderness Act and Wild and Scenic Rivers Act, we've protected these rivers where the rest of the world hadn't. So there were amazing river trips around the world. It's just that the rest of the world's been so developed that that we don't really have pristine places as much around the world as in the U.S. So rivers like the Middle Fork, the Selway, the Rogue, the Grand Canyon, Yampa, Illinois, Selway, all these things don't exist in the rest of the world. And maybe the American West is special, or maybe we just happen to have things like protections that set them aside.
I think that's the key to protection, Zach, because I would say there have been some really good international trips that don't exist anymore because of dams, like the Biobío and is it the Kora in Turkey, and there's these rivers that people used to do that were supposedly phenomenal trips, and then they got dammed. And we're lucky enough that we protected some of these rivers and kept them from being dammed.
So when you're looking internationally, it kind of depends what you want. Do you want to run class 5? Do you want an overnight? Do you want to go day tripping? I mean, I think there's some easy answers. The Food LeFou is super cool. That's a no-brainer. We do trips in Bhutan. I can tell you the rivers of Bhutan are really cool, and I recommend Bhutan. Of course, I sell trips there, so I'm a little bit biased. In Bosnia, I think what's that river in Bosnia on the border with Montenegro? The Tara is really cool as an overnight. There's, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan they're unreal. But there's the language is a difficulty, and right now they're a little bit unsafe. Those places are really cool. What am I missing, Aaron? What else is there?
Well, I'll say, in my mind, if I'm going to go someplace international to go do a trip, there's 2 types of trips you're going to do. You're going to do one where you're going to run a bunch of different rivers, or you're going to ideally go and do one where you get to float for a long time. That's the dream, right? Just to be on a river for a long time. And that's the Food LeFou is great, but I think one of the problems with it is a short stretch of river, and you're not actually rafting that much. It's an amazing whitewater. It's an amazing place, but it's not that long.
You could just go there. Laps on bridge to bridge, though.
Yeah. You could just go down hang out. Go do lap after lap after lap, if that's what you're looking for. Is that thing? Yeah. Now, if you want a longer wilderness experience, the best ones I've done, I think, are the Franklin River in Tasmania, which I think it's a really cool wilderness experience. It's not about the whitewater. There is some whitewater for sure, but there's portages. It's out there, and it's a neat place. That's one of my all-time favorites. And we did it in pack rafts, which is nice. Is that you could travel down with pack rafts to go do it. I think other ones I really like. I think Peru's got some really cool runs. I think
say Peru.
Peru, yeah. Peru. Is that better?
You said Peru, have there's some Peru. Fancy pronunciation.
Well, I get confused now. Are we supposed to use the English pronunciation?
Mexico.
Mexico. Yeah, exactly.
Mexico. Okay.
So, anyways, the Cotahuasi and the Colca, and then I've done the Colca, and I thought that was amazing, and I would go back and do it again. It's super rugged, but from what I heard, I think the Cotahuasi is actually a better trip than the Colca, and I wish I'd done that, and I'd go back and do that first. And then the Apalrimac up in more farther north, I've heard amazing things about that trip, and that's another neat multi-day trip. And these are all class 4 or 5 trips, with some tough trips. So those ones are tougher. I think the Franklin does have some tough rapids, but you can take the teeth out because you can portage so much of it. So that's what's nice about that one.
And in Peru, the Marañón has become pretty popular lately too.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's this guy. I forget his name. Who does Sierra Rios? Do you know what I'm talking about? He does trips down there. A bunch of people do trips down there. There's a hard section, easier section. He calls it the Grand Canyon of Peru or something like that. But Peru is a bunch of multi-days.
How many days are those ones? Yeah,
I think they're long. I think you do like a month.
Oh, whoa. Because I mean, that's those other 3 rivers, 5-6 days. I think you can do on a couple of them, depending. And then you got the travel in and out, and it's it's cool. But the access is brutal. You got to hike down 8,000 feet or something to get to them. So
I mean, Zach, we can help you out here. Tell us what you want. Be based somewhere, do a bunch of day trips, or you want to go do a long multi-day or 2.
Because that's the other
class
one.
3, 4, or 5. Because if you want to just go do a bunch of class 3 kayaking, Ecuador is where it's at, right? Or Costa Rica is really good. If you want to go get rad, go to Peru or go to Kyrgyzstan. If you want to go to Siberia. If you want a long trip, there's long trips in Siberia. If it kind of depends what you want. So give us a little more info. We'll try to recommend something.
Does anyone travel to Russia these days?
Rocky Contos. That's right. Rocky's the guy who does trips in Peru. Wilderness multi-day. Yeah, I think that's a good list though. All the stuff in Peru, I think Rocky does those. What's the one in Tasmania again, Aaron? The Franklin I hear is really cool, and you definitely love it. Class 3 is cool. Don't need super red. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan. There's a ton of class 3 there that you can make into multi-days and figure it out. Siberia is probably closed off right now, but if you're adventurous and want to go to Russia, there's a lot of class 3 out there too. The Katun River. In Canada, there's a bunch of stuff.
I mean, that's what I was going to say. Canada, what's the one that
the Babine. the Nass, the Chilkoot and Fraser.
The Chilkoot, yeah. And what's the one that goes to you boat into the national park? Why can't I think of the name of it right now?
The Babine.
Not different.
Or the Alsek or the Tatsushini?
No, not the Alsek or the Tatsushini. No, it's oh man. Shoot, give me a minute. I can pull it up here.
But I mean, Zach, honestly, like the best Class 3 multi-days wilderness are probably here in the U.S. It's really hard to find rivers of the caliber of what we have other places. I know that sounds just insane, but that's kind of the reality.
Yeah, I think Canada's got a tons of amazing long river trips, and I think Siberia does too. But the access, it just seems very challenging from what you've told me, Zach.
It's not the access; it's the language.
Yeah, accessing the river. Okay, yeah.
I mean, here's a blog post I wrote. By the way, I wrote a blog post about this. You want to see it? Of course, you want to see it. The world's 13 best multi-day river trips. Middle Fork. It's just, I personally think it's the Middle Fork's hard to beat. The Illinois, the Grand Canyon. You'll see that the first 3 are here in the U.S. The Fulafu, which is kind of a multi-day. It's only like 20 miles. They just make it seem long. The Tuolumne, you and I love that river. The Magpie in Canada, the Rogue, the Franklin. There you go, Aaron. The Selway, the Tatsushini Alsek, the Carnali. Oh, Nepal has a bunch of stuff. We forgot about Nepal.
Yeah,
the Carnali and the Sunkosi, the Kaligandaki, and then the Kalkim is just a river I picked, but there's a ton of stuff in Siberia, and the Zambezi, which is kind of a multi-day too.
Man, why can't I think of the name of that?
So those were when I had to sit down and come up with the best multi-river trips. That's the list I came up with a few years ago. We should get on to the other questions. I'm sure people want to have their questions answered. I'm not serious.
Yeah, totally.
You're right. We have 211 excited to bring them along next time. Thanks for getting that little area on the right side. Like, can I instruct you guys to pick up people after the rapid? Oh, I mean, I see what you're asking. So how do you get people to walk around Blossom Bar? It's hard. It's actually really hard. So I would either have a guide go with them or have a guide run a boat, like start them walking, have a guide run a boat down and then walk back up and give them the rest of the information. So to just pull over and say words to somebody and have them portage Blossom Bar would be tough. It'd be really tough. It's almost, the 11-year-olds. It's almost worth like having people go to the trail and just meeting them at Paradise. Just say, hey, start portaging. Just walk the trail to Paradise. We'll meet you there. Because it's really confusing to make your way around that portage. Anything to add there, Aaron? Anybody else have anything to add?
It depends what type of boats you're running. I think you can catch. There is a way that depending on if you have a quick light little boat, you can just get below the move at Blossom and Eddie Island River right and pick them up. If you got a light little boat down there, you can pull over just down the shore.
Wait, my line will start pulling hard left as I enter I'm not sure what the beaver chute is. Do you know what the beaver chute is?
No.
It's really hard to get a raft. I've been told that to get the pickup point, you can just immediately pour right. There's a pickup point halfway down Blossom Bar. Yeah. It's really hard to get a raft to, and it's super flow dependent. So we a lot of times make our duckies walk Blossom Bar, and the guides run the duckies down. The duckies can make that place we call Ducky Beach.
Yeah.
But explaining to people how to walk from the Scout to that place is really hard.
Well, you got to walk them down. Yeah.
So what I do is I say, hey, walk up this hill. I start walking down. I quickly run the rapid, and I run up and I find them before they get lost. I'm like, all right, cool. Go over there.
Mm-hmm.
No. Mm-hmm. I mean, Blossom Bar is dangerous. I don't know. That's why. Blossom Bar is dangerous.
Rafting is dangerous, yes.
Yeah. You wouldn't want your twin 11-year-old swimming in Blossom Bar. It depends on the group. I mean, if you're we don't know much about the person who asked the question, but if they're a one boat family trip, it's like husband and wife and 2 11-year-olds. We don't have more context. If it's one boat and you flipped, those 11-year-olds are going to go for a long swim. If you're with 5 boats, you can provide proper safety, ideally, if you do it right. But
if he's asking, he doesn't want him to run it. That's what or he's thinking he may not want to run it. And you got to respect that decision. And that's, And then, it's been too long. Zach, you know way more about this than I do. It's been way too long since I've done this. So,
I think, walking people around Blossom Bar, it's actually not easy. You could get her walking around it too. And there's rattlesnakes and whatever. But I think, walking around is an adequate thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Portaging the dog around. Yep. Yeah. Hitting that Ducky Beach is tough. In an oar boat. Whew, and it's really tough, especially if the oar boat's heavy.
Yeah.
All right.
So the Nahini was the river I was thinking of up in Canada.
I've heard a lot about this. I've never done
it. The Nahini looks amazing. And I want to go back to Zach's question a little bit, unless you have more on the Blossom Bar thing.
No, I have more question about no rush.
So Zach, you were asking about, longer multi-day trips. And I think that's one of the reasons I'm getting more interested in pack rafting is like, you want to see new places and you want to go to places a little more out of the way. Pack rafting opens up a lot of options.
Come on. Seriously, dude, this is a rafting show, not a pack rafting show.
No, pack raft. You pack your raft.
Hey, they call it a pack raft.
Like I'll say, Zach, before you head international, why not go try to pack raft the Escalante River? That would be
because the Escalante runs like 1 week of the year, Aaron.
No, the pack raft you can run it. The pack raft you can run it. I'm talking to Zach Lang, not to Zach Collier.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Yeah, well, I'm talking to Zach Lang right now.
No, Zach, Aaron, don't talk him into being a pack rafter. Zach, be yourself. Do your thing.
I'm not trying to talk him. I'm just saying what you like to do. That's one of the reasons I wanted to pack raft more is because I feel like you can get to access a lot of remote runs that you wouldn't normally be able to get to, longer trips, get away from people. So, yeah.
Are you done?
I mean, you can do what 200 plus miles on the Oahe if you time it right.
You could do it in a raft too, or a kayak, or a ducky, not a little inner tube thing. There's no reason to pack raft the Oahe. There's zero reasons.
Even if you start way up Deep Creek?
No, there's no reason. I mean, maybe because if you have to do a portage, it makes it easier for the portage. Yeah. But that's about it. Like, the pack rafts are really good for hiking in like 5 miles to a run.
Or getting on a plane and flying someplace to go run.
You might as well fly a ducky in. I mean, the weight difference between a ducky and a pack raft is minor, and you can carry more stuff in a ducky. And don't tell me about the tubes you can zipper stuff into. That's just nonsense.
That's not nonsense, but that's an interesting point. A ducky isn't that much more expensive. But
it's hiking in.
Zach, some of us can't have the ducky, the pack raft, and
Aaron and Zach's the same.
We're not all outfitters. We're not all.
Well, Zach can't just go buy a pack raft because you wanted a pack raft.
Yeah, but the pack raft you can take more places than inflatable kayak. You can take a pack raft almost any place you can take an inflatable kayak, but you can't take an inflatable kayak a lot of places you can take a pack raft.
There's a lot of places I will take an inflatable kayak that I will not take a pack raft. Like the Chetco. I know people have survived the Chetco in a pack raft. Bad idea. Right? So it depends on what you want to do. You can't.
Didn't you used to run pack rafts down that?
No, I never have. I've been on a trip where somebody pack rafted.
What are those things called that you used to run the airboats?
The back rafts.
Yeah, the back raft is basically a pack raft.
It is not basically a pack raft. It's a ducky. It weighs 9 pounds. The defining thing of a
pack raft is like a 400 pound.
The defining thing of a pack raft is it's just a thin little inner tube thing you sit in.
No, pack raft means basically under 10 pounds. Under 10 pounds is a pack raft.
That's not true. The shape of the pack raft is what makes it a pack raft. Right? It's super thin, light material.
The pack raft means you can pack it on your back. That's what's called a pack raft. That's the definition. You can carry it easily. 10 pounds. That's a pack raft.
Okay. Well, anyway, I've traveled a lot of places internationally with those back rafts, and I think they're great to travel with internationally because they're so light and they pack small. Like you can get all your boating gear in a 50-pound bag. That's your back raft, your PFD, your throw
Zach
bag.
And I totally agree. And when I say pack raft, that's what I'm talking about. Those under 10-pound boats that you can take anywhere, and that it's a great option.
But Zach's not going to go buy a ducky. He wants to go boating internationally somewhere cool. I was just always imagined it was super cool to blend the difference. Yeah, it's super cool. Zach, don't buy a pack raft just because Aaron wants you to be a pack rafter. I would say some of the coolest places to blend culture and river culture would be like Costa Rica or somewhere in Latin America, like Ecuador,
Peru. Like when you go up there, you when you go to the put-ins, those places, you're up at like, well over 10,000 feet, and people are living up there, and there's these little people around, and they got these little donkeys and burros, and so it's killer down there, man.
Yeah.
If you're looking for that, yeah. Like, and I'll say, like, there's some culture going to Tasmania, which it's cool, and there's definitely some stuff there, but not quite as different as these other places we just touched, where it's such a, from where we live and how we live, seeing how they're living, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
I think I've never been to Africa boating, but I've always thought it'd be cool to boat in Africa. But it's culturally really cool to do that. Bhutan, of course, like, anytime you're waving at monks from the river, that's just amazing, and going by temples.
Have you talked to anyone who's gone to Madagascar? I've heard a lot of people talk about Madagascar. Has been like, that was like the talk there for a couple of years, and I haven't heard anyone talk about it lately.
All right, we're getting sidetracked. Let's get back to the questions. This is a Q&A show, not just us argue with each other show. All right, last question. Awkward question. Curious to making money to buy a home for support family running rafting companies. That's for a boater. Around 10. Oh, look at using the playing cards to buy company hire expert guides. I mean, it's kind of a personal question.
No, but let's seriously answer this for a second. Okay, if you want to buy a rafting company, and it sounds like it's going to be a small company. Zach is an outfitter, and I actually sell rafting trips. So I think the big thing is you got to like marketing and spending time in front of a computer, because like you got to sell your trips. And that's your job, and everyone wants to do the fun part. And the fun part's running the river trips and stuff like that, but the hard part's selling trips. So you need to be able to do that, right? Would you say, Zach?
Yeah, 100%. It's not as it's first of all, I make enough money. I own a home. I don't have kids, so I can support my wife and I. I mean, she has a job too. I mean, I'm not like swimming in cash buying Lambos or anything, but I do okay. But every business is different. Like my business is probably way different than somebody else's businesses. Like multi-day trips are different than day trips in terms of how much money you can make. So it really depends on how much money you need and the business you can buy. Honestly, no, I don't think rarely are any two rafting businesses the same. I love rafting. I want to pour my life into it. Start a YouTube channel. That's what you should do. Go rafting. I'm honestly
because we're making so much money doing this. Yeah. This shows. Yeah.
I mean, when I think about, so like Aaron makes a good point about, like, a lot of my job is marketing, emailing people, computer work. Like, it's not as sexy as everybody thinks. And one of my mentors told me early on, he's like, anybody can run a good river trip. The hard part is selling river trips. And so without the sales and marketing and all, there's tons of paperwork. It just all falls apart. So it is a business. It's not just all like going boating and having fun and all that. And it's work. If you want a job you love, and you love marketing and computers and boating, it's probably a good job. But when I bought my company, I had been running a company for a while. I had no other options. It was like McDonald's or buy a rafting company. So I was sort of stuck. Like I could have gone back to being a teacher, I guess, but I sort of had to succeed because it was the thing I knew the most about when I bought the company. But a YouTube channel, I've been thinking about this. Like, how could you make money, like going boating more? Right. And you could just go boating all the time and then make cool videos about it and share it. And eventually, like in 5 or 10 years, you can make some money.
How many rafters are there in the world, Zach?
I don't know, a lot. Make it a really good YouTube channel.
Do you think there's 100,000?
Sure.
In the world?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I just don't think there's that many people who are that into rafting. That's our problem. Like, I mean, how many, like, it's great and appreciate everyone coming, but we've got 20 some odd people tuning in.
27, Aaron. 27
people tuned in right now.
Yeah, but this person could do a better job than us.
Yeah,
they could make a better YouTube channel. What if it was 5 times as good and they had
And maybe they can make it mainstream, and they could make it like, what is it? What's that show like Temptation Island or something like that, where they get like sex involved with it, and then people actually want to watch it because relationships are going weird and people are like yelling at each other or something.
Well, also like I think this channel is, when we do the live shows, Aaron, it's just what you and I want to talk about. This is just like you and I want to do on a Tuesday afternoon. We might have this discussion anyway. We're just putting it on the internet. We could actually make the show people want to watch. We could,
You actually think we can make it that much better?
If we put time and energy into it, this could actually be better than mediocre. If you would rub your sunscreen on before we started the show, we get you a better microphone. We cover topics people want to hear instead of just this garbage we've been chatting about today. We could refine our speaking abilities. It's just an idea. I don't know. I think there's other ways to be in rafting that the being an outfitter. And the problem with being an outfitter is it's really expensive to get in. Like buying in is just incredibly expensive, and it doesn't pencil. So like almost probably no rafting companies pencil out financially, which maybe a couple do, but it's really hard. And the only time they'll pencil is when they're companies that failed. And then you have to have the business acumen and the marketing to bring that back. And it's a lot of work. So if you love rafting, I'm not sure owning a rafting company is the smartest thing, especially because you will then just do the same section over and over and over and over. And at some point after 5 years of doing that, you may not like rafting as much. Where there's probably some job out there where you can go boat a variety of rivers and go travel and figure out how to make a living doing that. And that could be, I think one way things I would do is like, I think YouTube is the way to do it. That's why I'm doing it in part because my second career could be YouTube channel person, but also you could make gear and sell like gear. There's a really good need for awesome raft frames and cataract frames. Somebody could start a raft and cataract frame business and make the best frames. They're super well thought out. They could be better than what exists now, or make NRS style gear and import it from China. And there's ways to do it. So I don't know. I think there's other things you could do if you think outside the box than outfitting. But if you want to be, I think the key to being an outfitter is you have to enjoy hiring and training guides, not necessarily enjoy the guiding. Because you won't guide as much as you think, but you'll be spending a lot of time hiring and training the people on the water. What do you think, Aaron? Anything to add there?
Yeah. How do I say this? I'd almost say, why not just become a guide? If you want to spend time on the water and you've got the resources to buy a company, you probably could invest that and probably make, depending on where you're guiding and what you're guiding, but to guide. Because you will be away from your family, and it depends how old your family is. But I feel like I know a lot more people who make a living guiding than do outfitting, and get to spend the time in the water, and it's good. And a lot of the outfitters I see, I don't think their lives look hard. I have to say, I looked at buying a company for a while, and it's just like, man, there's a lot of stress there, and you're like, oh, we got a fire, we got to cancel all our trips this summer. Oh, this happened. People want their money, but it's just like these things come up, and you're like, it's a tough industry. And I think being a guide is pretty nice. Guiding, if you like being on the river, like being a fishing guide in particular, I know a lot of people make careers as fishing guides, and you get to be out in the water all the time, enjoying being on the river, and you can do it. And then you go home at night and get to hang out with your kids, and you're not like going home and be like, oh, I got to make sure everyone's checked in for tomorrow, make sure this taken care of, make sure this taken care of back then. I got to refund these people this money. And, oh, my website's not working properly. I got to get this fixed. And there's just always these little things you're taking care of. If you like doing lots of different things, it seems like it's a cool industry in terms of you got to be a jack of all trades. You got to be able to take care of a lot of different stuff. But
loving rafting isn't enough.
Yeah,
that's not enough.
I'd almost say a lot of the outfitters I know do the best. I don't even think they even like to raft that much. I'm serious. They don't even go on the river. They just love selling trips.
I would say that the people you're thinking of loved it when they got into it. Loved being on the river for 20 years.
Yeah.
But after some number of years, like, this is what I do for a living. This is a business I have to, and it turns out not going on the river in a lot of ways is probably better for the business, because if you're on the river and something goes wrong, there's nobody to fix it, right? Or it's hard being an owner going on the river, actually, unless it's day trips. But a lot of owners don't, a lot of people that own day trip companies don't do the day trips. They end up driving the shuttles. They get, they get a Class C license and drive buses. They realize that the problems happen in transportation and getting to and from the river and logistics. But there's got to be another way to make money rafting. Employer, like, I like the idea. I like his sentence. I love rafting and willing to pour my life into it. There's got to be a cool
and
way.
if you guys have any ideas, everyone who's tuned in right now, let us know, because we all, let's all do it. Let's figure out a way that we can all make money rafting.
Yeah. That's why I think this YouTube thing is pretty cool, because someday, Aaron, you and I could just, if you moved to Hood River, we could just go boating all the time and come back and share videos and commentary and thoughts. And, there's got to be a way to, down the road, let's say 10 years from now, who knows, to go boating and share with people and make a living. There's got to be a way. If there's a way, if there's a will, there's a way.
We got a lot of comments.
We do? The guy on the company, yeah. There's exceptions, but most of the people who... Is that, Aaron, is that day trips or multi-day? That's a big difference too.
I think both. I think for both that's true.
Makes sense.
I think for both that's true. I think both of them, that multi-day, they'll get on a trip here or there during the year. Multi-day, they'll get on a trip maybe once a week or something, maybe, depending.
Day trips.
Yeah. Oh, that.
Yeah, if I ran day trips as a business owner, if I owned a company for 5 years, I probably wouldn't ever go again. If it's just the same section over and over and over, I personally can't do the same section over and over. I like diversity. Even on a multi-day, you have 6 different days on a metaphor trip. Even though it's the same trip, every day of the 6 days is different. It's not like the same thing over and over and over. Unless it was something really hard, maybe that might be more interesting.
Well, I'll say, I did that for a lot of years. It was fun.
Yeah.
If you have to bring your A game every day and it requires your total concentration, that's a different ballgame. When you can just kind of cruise it and you're just like, same old, that's a different deal. Yeah.
Yep. Spends his whole summer on the subway.
That must be Ari. He's
he's
the only outfitter that spends the whole summer on the subway. That's Ari. You're talking about Ari. He gets but that's only 4 trips, and
that's not the whole summer. That's 16 days.
And
or 20 days.
Yeah, I wonder if he's making enough money doing that. And if you have a subway, if you can get a subway permit, go for it. There's 4 of them, so
it's pretty much impossible to. They've all changed hands in the past 10 years, or almost all of them. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It'd be a pretty sweet gig, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go back, and then so we're done with.
There's a question about PFDs.
All right, let's go back to the Google. What was that PFD called? The NRS High.
The guy.
River Guide PFD. Let's see. High Guide River. Big Water PFD.
Big Water PFD. Yeah.
This is it right here. They're sold out of large, extra large. So all you can get is extra small, medium. But I'm a fan, Aaron. They look so nerdy, but I went to go order one the other day and they're sold out of my size.
Did you try Amazon too? Are they sold out on Amazon?
I did. They have on Amazon. I just,
you want your discount.
I want my discount. But I should just buy it. The high water season's over. So, I don't think I need. What's this? The Rapid Responder PFD? Oh, hold on. Oh, wait. I'm on a different page than you. Sorry. What's this?
No. Click that. Make that big. Yeah, click on it. Let's see what that is.
So, whoa. Have you seen this?
No, I have not.
Whoa. How much flotation does it have?
That looks new, yeah.
Where's the specs? 22 pounds of flotation. This looks less dorky. It looks, like I'm gonna go rescue some people.
Yeah, because you got that rescue harness that we talked about that you don't really need, Zach.
You don't need. I would probably take it off, to be honest with you. It has this Velcro on here. That's all Velcro. You can put patches on it. It has this thing so you can be glow in the dark. I'm not sure if I like these extra buckles. Maybe I do. Does the other one have that?
No. And the zipper definitely can come undone. So.
That's big water guide. So anyway, let me finish my story. I went to go order one. It wasn't in my. I actually ordered it on accident as extra small. I realized that. I called NRS to change it. They said they're sold out, and they said they're redesigning this PFD for the fall or the winter, and they're going to put the mole on it, which is the mole is all the stuff. So
what stuff?
Mole is all that, like this stuff, all this black stuff you can like clip things into.
Why? That creates more drag. Why? You're making it more expensive.
Yeah.
Yep. Like good point. It's amazing how it's the best vest out there, dude. Don't screw it up. You know. Like,
hold on. It's the best vest out there, but it's not that great.
It's by far the best, and you're making it like so now stuff can get snagged on it easier, so it's going to be harder to get in and out of the raft, and like that mole thing is just like it's. I mean, it's a clean vest. It works. Like,
yeah, it works, but like this could definitely be better.
It could be better by having more flotation.
No, it could be better by looking less dorky.
If it had 26 pounds of flotation, it'd be a lot better.
No, they could. That knife thing on the front is a weird location. I just take it off. I guess people like their external knives though. It just looks kind of dorky.
It is dorky, but it works, and then you're creating more friction.
But if it looked cooler, more people would wear it.
More drag on the vest.
Yeah, you think the mole has more drag, or when you attach
the mole will have more. The mole will have more drag, and people attach stuff to it.
Yeah.
The other thing is that guy's wearing the vest up too high. He should pull it down farther. They don't even have him wearing the vest right. He's wearing it too high up. Pull it down a little farther.
How about that? How's that look?
That looks better. Yeah, that vest looks better.
Yeah.
But I want that vest to be a lot lower.
I mean, how big are the pockets, Aaron?
Not that big. I mean, you could fit your webbing in the pocket, and you could fit like some sunscreen and
I think stuff. They should fix the pockets.
I could agree with that. And having a pocket system where you could easily have a knife in your pocket and access it would be good.
Or even just like a little slot to put a folding knife where you just pull it out really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, while we're here, I want to remind people that the NRS is a great company and someone we're hoping sponsors the show someday. This is the weekly reminder of how much we love NRS and how we would love to be sponsored by them. All right. Oops, we got lots of YouTuber. How would YouTube rivers when product culture is not spot burn? Not to spot burn. What is that?
What?
Is that a typo? Do you understand what that says? How would you YouTube rivers when part of the culture is not to spot burn? I don't know.
Where are we? I can't.
Do you see this comment I put down here, Aaron? Are you watching the show?
How would you YouTube rivers when part of?
I don't know. Broadcasting lifestyle, but protecting spots. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I don't know.
You know what? You know, one of the cool things about rafting, I'm gonna say, is like, there's not that many rafters out there. It's not like if it's a cool run, a ton of people are going to do it, and most of them the access is hard. It's not like surfing or these other sports where they just get overrun. Like rivers is kind of cool. It's like one of the things I like about our sport is that if I do a cool river, I'm going to tell people about it because I'm probably not going to see you out there. You know what I mean? Versus other things like, there's a lot of things that are being overloved, and rivers definitely in general, most of them aren't being. Maybe like the Rogue and a couple others, but more the random stuff.
A few people get mad at me for posting videos of certain rivers, like, "Oh, this is my secret place. How dare you share it with people?" And I mean, I can see, I can see both sides of the argument of like it's good to share with other people, and a lot of people just want to watch the video and not go. I don't know. I'm just trying to brainstorm.
But I'll say, like the Illinois, for example, I think is one of the best rivers in the world. It doesn't get that much usage. And if you want to go and not see one, just launch on a Sunday or Monday.
Yeah,
You're probably going to see Monday. You're not going to see anyone out there. Yeah. Maybe you'll see one other group. And if you know, you're like, hey, what's your plan? Okay, we're going to go. We're going to head ahead. So, yeah. Anyways, moving forward. Thanks.
But anyway, I don't know if the YouTube is the right choice here, Zach, but there's got to be an option other than outfitting to love rafting and make a life out of it. I don't know what that is. Aaron's saying this is for rescue professionals. Yeah, this looks like a firefighter PFD, Aaron, right?
Yep.
Swimming, we're talking about this weekend in the middle part. They said never swim on their back with their feet down, always on their stomach. Huh. You want to answer that one, Aaron?
Well, I think Zach and I, whenever we see the never and the always, I think both Zach and I will say, we'll cringe at the nevers and the always. The never makes me not want to agree with the statement, but in premise, I agree with the general idea of like, in general, get on your stomach and swim to make your situation better.
What if you fall on the top of tunnel chute? What do you do?
Well, that's what I'm going to say. There's exceptions.
What if you fall
my exceptions? There's exceptions. Yeah. In general, I think that's a good rule. But if you see a horizon line, you know you're going to go over a drop. Yeah, get your feet downstream. If you're going to float towards some big object that you're going to hit, like a rock, something, yeah, get your feet downstream. If it's so crazy and chaotic that you don't know what to do, yeah, get your feet downstream. But other than that, I think in general, yeah, you're better off swimming on your stomach, right?
I think there's offensive and defense. I would call it defensive and offensive swimming or aggressive swimming. So I would say if you're in a big rapid and you fall out, sometimes you just can't swim. Sometimes it's like literally survival. Get your feet up out in front of you, get them out of the water, and make like moves just to like this a little bit. But you're on for the whole. You fall out in the middle of Mushroom on Cherry Creek. There's not a whole lot of self-rescuing that's going to happen there on your stomach. And then when you feel like you can aggressively make progress somewhere, then get on your stomach and self-rescue. So I would say in the middle of a lot of rapids, depending on the person, like Aaron, Aaron's a superstar swimmer, so you could probably catch eddies in Mushroom if you fell out, where like the average American, can't do anything in a class 2.
Well, but I'll say on those trips we used to work up there, I'll say the trips we used to work at Jericho, though we taught people how to catch eddies and they could swim and catch them. And I feel like too often we see people in that defensive swimming position. I'm just not into being a victim. I don't like that in life in general. I think, hey, do something to make your situation better. Don't like wait for someone to take care of you. And that's my problem with the defensive swimming position is you see these people, and it's like we maybe even worked that one trip, but this woman was laying on her back with her arm stripped in the air like this, just floating downstream on the Merced high water, zooming around the corner. She could have done something to help a little bit, and she was in a terrible spot, but it was just like not doing anything. It's just like, no, don't do that. So that's why I'm kind of thrilled that I think they've gone over.
They've gone over
a little too much. Yeah. They've overcompensated. But I'd rather be on that end of the gray area of like, hey man, no. Because like his next comment is, I always thought put your feet downstream and swim on your back. And that's a problem I think too, is a lot of people think that that's the only way you're supposed to swim in a river. And it's not effective. And like I said, like those 3 things that we talked about before, those are the spots where, I'm definitely getting my feet downstream. But on hard rivers, man, you want to get yourself out of the river, you can. Get on your stomach and swim to make your life better. So, and when you're on your back, it's really easy for your feet to fall down and go deep and get foot entrapped. And if you're on your stomach, you're not going to get foot entrapped if you're on your stomach.
Yeah, I mean, I talk a lot about letting your butt hang down. Like get your feet up in front of you, let your butt hang down. So I tell people, if you fall out in the middle of a rapid, if you're just like discombobulated, just get on your back, put your feet up, get to the bottom. When you can aggressively swim to somewhere, that could be a boat, that could be a rock, that could be the shore, get on your stomach and aggressively swim to that spot. And it does depend on the person. Some people cannot swim on their stomach in a PFD that well. Their body shape doesn't allow it. Some people are ninjas and they can. So I think for everybody, it's a little different what they can and should do.
But I mean, and I'll go back to this. If you go out and play in the ocean and a big wave is coming towards you, and it's going to break out, do you put your feet out in front and be like, I'm going to put my feet downstream for the big wave?
What's the ocean here? It's something else.
No, it's not something else, though, because an ocean wave and a big wave in the river is very similar. But in the river, we put our feet downstream. What happens? We get hammered. It goes up our nose. We get spun around.
Not always. It's also very river dependent too. Like
totally.
if it's low water, middle fork, I kind of want people to get their feet up out of the water and just like float down the middle of a rapid. If it's high water, middle fork, their feet up doesn't really matter that much. I want them to, almost no matter where they're at, I want them to aggressively make progress somewhere.
Now tell me something. How often when you see people get on their back and get their feet up downstream, do they actually keep their feet on the surface? What percentage of the time?
I don't know. A lot.
What percent? 90,
I don't know. I'm not taking notes. They do a good job. I think they do a good job. At least they're making an effort towards doing that.
But then my problem with it, Zach, is I'll say is like maybe best 75% of the people are keeping their feet up. And those other people, though, they're really in danger for foot entrapment when it's shallow.
Yeah, but being on your stomach is no picnic either.
But being on your stomach, you're not going to get foot entrapment. You get beat up. Your shins are your shins are going to get bruised, but you're not going to get foot entrapped.
You go and how do you get on your stomach and swim down a rapid head first, Aaron?
Well, you're not. I'd rather have feet. You're going to swim to one side or the other. You're going to swim towards.
No, it's too rocky. There's rocks in the way. There's stuff everywhere. You're not going to swim somewhere. It's low water. You can't just swim to the side of the river. You just there's a lot. Like let's say you fall out in the middle of like Sulphur Slide. You're not going to swim to the side of the river. You're in for the ride. Get your feet up. But at the bottom, when things chill out, then swim to the side.
Well, you can swim over to the side in Sulphur Slide.
Not on Sulphur Slide. No, you can't. You even you can't do that. Aaron, I think my point is on this is it's a little different for everyone, and it's a little different for every river, and it's a little different for the river conditions. Totally. And so as a guide, you have to express things based on that river and river conditions. Maybe on the Middle Fork of the American, that's what they want you to do for some reason, right? Because they feel like for how it's set up for safety, that's how it is on that particular river, those particular guides, right? If you fall out in the top of tunnel chute, you do not want to be in your stomach. You want your feet in front of you to smash.
Exactly. I agree.
So like if I'm a guide on the Middle Fork, I might give some more nuance to that, but everybody's different.
But I think also I would above certain rapids say, hey, if you fall out here, just get your feet downstream. And I think that's also, it's very rapid depending even on a trip. Like here, if you fall out, just get your feet downstream. A lot of places like, hey, you fall out, swim right. If you fall out here, swim left. You know, like most rapids.
And above the rapid, tell people that. Yeah. But I think a generalization I'm going to use to give people the best information I can, because I can't give everybody an individual safety talk telling them exactly how they should handle every single rapid, but you can give them advice on what they should do. I'm going to say, if you fall out into rapid and it's just kind of chaotic and crazy, just relax, get your feet up out in front of you and ride it out. You have a PFD on. I feel good about you riding it out. At the bottom, or when you feel comfortable, I want you to I want you to get in your stomach and aggressively make progress towards something. You'll probably see me pointing towards something. I'll say like, go there. And that's when I want you to aggressively go to that place. So
I think we're pretty similar in our safety in our talk.
So I'm not going to say always on your stomach. I'm not going to say always on your back. I'm going to say depending on how.
I'm in agreement, but I still think as a boating culture, too many people think I'm just supposed to lay on my back. Which, like, if you think you can get yourself out of the water, get on your stomach and swim to get yourself out of the water. Like, if you think you can get yourself out by swimming on your stomach, do it. If you think you can make your life better by getting on your stomach and swimming in a direction.
It also depends if you're a commercial guest or you're a guide or you're a private boater.
I think more that's just like if you think you can. If you say, hey, I think I can swim out here, then go for it.
And I think if you're a commercial guest.
And I'll put a caveat on that. Like, having said, as a guide at the top of a rapid, there's certain places where they have to be careful about swimming. Let them know, like, hey, if you fall out, you have to swim right in here. Do not swim left.
Yeah. But I would say if you're a guest, if you're explaining this to a guest, you have to give them some very simple to understand information.
Yeah.
That they can take and use on the river. If you're a private boater, if you're a guide, you should probably be almost always aggressively self-rescuing. If you fall out, you should almost always be like on your stomach, no matter where you fall out. Not always, but almost always. If you're a private boater, probably you need to understand your own swimming abilities and what you can and can't do, and probably be aggressively swimming as well. So I think it depends on
and I'll say if you're not comfortable aggressively swimming in the white water on the rapids you're running, you probably don't want to be running those rapids.
Say that again?
In general.
If you're not comfortable swimming in the rapids you're running. Yeah, I mean,
like,
in general,
if oh, I fall on this, I'm gonna say I have to get on my back and go downstream and wait till I'm in the bottom. If that's true of every rapid on the run, you're like, yeah, probably.
But Aaron, let's think of like Chamberlain Falls on the Norfolk American. I'm not gonna. I don't want to swim that one top to bottom, but I'll still go do that rapid.
No, but you don't want to swim. I'm not saying you want to, but I'm saying is like if you fall out, you're not like if you fall on Chamberlain, you're not just going to do feet downstream. And I'm saying if you're a private boat and you're running rivers and you're choosing to guide boats down there, if your plan, if you're to fall out, is to always put your feet downstream on a river, you probably shouldn't be running it.
And just wait to get rescued. This came up in a video a couple weeks ago. That guy who in the little boat that flipped and he just waited for a throwback or whatever. Like if you're in charge of a boat, I'm gonna say that because there's private boaters who row and there's private boaters who just hang on the boat and hang out. If you're in charge of a boat, you should be able to make progress towards self-rescue.
Yeah.
Like just laying there waiting to get rescued is not appropriate.
You should be able to get back to your boat or at least get yourself to shore and get out of the river.
I'm gonna say you don't have to get back to your boat and you don't have to get to shore, but at a minimum, you have to make progress towards those things. I would want you to get back to your boat or to shore, but just laying there waiting to get rescued is not appropriate. You have to at least be making progress. You have to have the ability to like. There's some rapids, Aaron, that I follow. I can't get to shore.
No, I'm not saying all, but
I have to at least be able to attempt to get to shore.
I dislike that because I feel like that says like, oh, if I just try, that's enough. It's like, no, dude. Most rapids you're running.
I'm gonna say at a minimum, you have to try. Whether I'm not gonna say you at least have to. So some people just fall out and do nothing. I see this a lot. Remember that video we did at Oregon Hole Gorge a few years ago, where those guys just fell out, and held onto the raft, and went down the next rapid, hold on to the raft. Yeah. That was totally bothered me. Like they needed to at least try to get back in the boat, try to swim to shore. Just holding on and doing nothing.
Exactly. That's my point. Maybe they were trying.
No.
And maybe before they went on that run, they were like, "Oh, yeah, I'll try," and they were like, "I'm trying."
And that wasn't trying.
Well,
trying is actually trying.
But that's why I think you have to have I'd say I want a little bit more of a standard of like, hey man, you should be able to swim to shore in pools, but between most of the rapids on the river. You should be able to, like, if you fall at the top of a lot of the rapids, you get to shore before you run the rapid, or you can get back to your boat in a pool. You should be able to flip your boat back over and climb back in if you're running, like class 4, for example.
I've seen people run class 4. They cannot get back in their boat.
I know, and I don't.
It's okay as long as you have a plan. As long as you have people with you that can pull you back in. That's my take. Like if you're running tight and you fall out, if you can't get back in, the boat in front of you. It's people do it all the time, Aaron. I'm not gonna.
You will go boating with people on class 4 who can't self-rescue.
Yeah.
Would you go kayaking with someone who can't roll on class 4?
I'm solo boating at that point. So.
No, but I'm just saying, would you go kayaking with someone on class 4 who can't roll?
It depends. Is there? Do I need that person for my safety and to complete the day? If the answer is yes, I don't want to go.
It's not even that. It's just like that's a mess. And
that's
what type of expectations are you setting?
What if I want to hang out with them? What if it's Dougie Fresh? I want to hang out with Dougie Fresh. I'm like, well, I'm happy to clean up Dougie's messes. I like Dougie. The worst case scenario is we hike to a road 10 minutes away.
But hold on. Should Dougie even be doing that run if you can't do that? Should he be on that run if he can't self-rescue? That's more my concern, is like for his safety. Like I used to get in trouble. I was notoriously bad when I was younger about getting people to do runs that they probably shouldn't be doing at that point, because I was very comfortable in my ability to rescue them and help them get down. But they still took beat downs, and it wasn't fun. And there was sometimes there was like, and I remember Larry one time was like, Aaron, I shouldn't have been on this run. Larry Gunther, and I was like, man, I blew it. I let Larry down there, I think that's what I mean. Like there's a certain standard that you need to have to go do certain activities.
Hey, Aaron, listen, this conversation is just going in circles. It's never gonna, I just want to say there are times when people do runs that they are at the limits of what they can or should do. And at a minimum, the lowest level is that they can make progress towards rescue. Ideally, they can self-rescue. But the absolute, that's fine, and we can disagree. I'm going to say the absolute minimum is they can make progress towards rescue. If they cannot make progress towards rescuing, I can say without a doubt they should not be there. But if they can at least make progress towards self-rescue.
What does progress towards self-rescue mean when your boat's flipped upside down and you're holding onto the side?
It means letting go of the side and trying to get on top of that boat, or just swimming to shore, or swimming to another boat. But literally falling out and holding on and waiting for a rescue is not appropriate at all. That's what I'm going to say.
And so if they let go and try to pull themselves up and can't, that's okay. Even though they can't. And it actually makes their situation worse because they're not holding on to the raft anymore.
It's not always good
to let go and try to pull up and not always fall off.
If they have no hope of getting on, it's not okay.
Well,
okay. But progress towards the rescue. No, Aaron, progress towards the rescue could be swimming to another boat or swimming to shore.
Well,
it doesn't have to be getting on the boat.
I'm going back to that Oregon Hole Gorge, and I don't think they could have swam to shore, and there was no other route for them to swim to. So I think they did their best option, then, according to your standards.
No. They could have swam to shore. Okay. First of all, they should not have been there. That's because they had no chance of getting on the boat, and there was nobody. The other boaters were not close to them. They could have been there if the other people in the team had been close and could have helped them. But because their team boating was bad and their inability to self-rescue was pretty weak, I would not have wanted them there. But if there were other boats close by and they're boating as a team, I would have been okay of them swimming to the boat and getting rescued and dealing. At least they could have made progress. Like if there's a boat 10 feet away and they can at least make 5 of those feet, then that boat can make 5 of those feet. They're back in the boat. Again, this is a minimum standard. And I think that people should be able to get back in their boat and fully rescue. But I think there's some subtlety that allows a little bit.
I would definitely say it's not ideal or optimal.
No. Yeah. And concessions have to be made, which means like the rest of the team has to be stronger. This is where being like a 7 can be mitigated by being a king. If a king is there, they can mitigate a 7. But if you're all 7s, that's a problem. Like a good boater who's paying attention to boat spacing and paying attention to safety can mitigate some of this stuff. If there had been like that group going through, there was just a bunch of 7s and 8s and 9s. There's nobody paying attention to group safety. So there was no kings, queens, jacks. But if an ace or a king had been there, they could have cleaned that situation up. But the people hanging on the raft would have had to have let go of that raft and made progress towards something. You're wearing me out.
Let's talk about Aaron Davis comment. Aaron Davis, yes, your two comments here is like loosen up the shoulder straps, pull it lower on your body, and it's going to fit better. I'd say that'd be my first suggestion. Is try to set it lower, particularly your friend with the big belly. It doesn't fit over his round belly. If he has the shoulder straps super loose, it should fit below his belly, or he's got too small of a vest. Because that's the key part with the shoulder strap. Loosen him up so they will fit over his belly. Maybe he's a big dude, it doesn't. But for most guys I've noticed, the problem is when they have the shoulder straps too tight, they tighten it down and pull it up, and it won't fit over
really high.
belly.
Yeah. Like shove that thing down is what you're saying.
Loosen up the shoulder straps as far as you can, then tighten down the sides, and then do the top.
Does any PFD fit well over around your body? Is there anyone that's like, oh man, that one fits great? I'd love to know that.
Are you Blair, friend? Yeah.
Blair thinks we should design a life vest.
I would love to design a life vest. If someone else can produce it, I'll design
Aaron and I would argue incessantly if we did it together. So Aaron needs to design a life vest, and I need to make it look cool.
We can each do our own.
No, Aaron, you design it. I'll just make it look cool. You can design all the.
Would you want a Velcro pocket to access your or a zipper pocket for your
zipper?
Knife?
Yeah, I have a prototype PFD back here that has Velcro pockets, and what happens with Velcro pocket is you end up sticking more and more stuff in, then it just kind of gapes open. It allows you to put more stuff in there than you need. So
yeah, I was
I'm
thinking about a
against Velcro.
separate pocket just for your knife that's Velcro or something. I don't know.
Or just like like the new ones. Some of the new ones in Europe have just a little tiny pocket. They can just pull it out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I just think that the Astro Green Jacket zip over the front pocket is the secret to everything. Like the best PFDs have that pocket.
I'm going to say this. I think the NRS Big Guide PFD is perfect the way it is. It just needs 4 more pounds of flotation.
No, it's not perfect the way it is. It's adequate the way it is.
Oh, and I would get rid of the little hand warmer pockets because you don't need hand warmer pockets. You just slide them in your vest right here. You don't need the hand warmer pockets. The hand warmer pockets are silly.
The hand warmer, can you put your flip line in the hand warmer pockets?
I don't think it works very well. I put it in the zippered one in the middle instead because it's basically the same. Either you have something in the zippered pocket or you have it in, you can fit stuff in with your hand. So it's silly. It's the hand warmers are silly. That's the one thing I will say. Get rid of the hand warmers. Save money. Make more money. Where are the pockets on that one?
That's his comment. I don't think there are pockets, but then Aaron's saying there's another model with pockets, so I don't even know. Oh, sweet.
Oh, nice, Johnny. That's good to hear.
Huh. Thanks, Johnny. Thinking of removing a rescue belt, but it came in very handy at top of Clavey last week. We need details, Sean.
Yeah, Sean, please explain.
We need details. How did a rescue belt come in handy at top of Clavey? Huh. I mean, I have no idea. Do you know, Aaron? North Fork of the Nuke Sack?
The North Fork Nuke Sack.
Nose and Toes, this guy. I think that's a lot of guides. Nose and Toes are like, they have all their jokes about defensive swimming position that they use in the safety talk. And I think a lot of guides are a little too attached to the defensive safety position, defensive swimming position. But a lot of guides will say nose and toes, nose and toes. And I think, Aaron, what also happens is when you are guiding day trips with people that are not in shape on pool drop, it's just like get your feet up. Just get your feet up. We'll get you to the bottom. And I think there's a lot to that. So I think
I agree. And I think so. We teach safety to the lowest common denominator for the people who are so out of shape they can't swim. So the people who are actually athletic enough and can make their lives better. We're just like, suckers. We're not gonna, you take care of yourself and are in shape, but we're not gonna give you anything to help you out. We're just gonna have you float down with everyone else. Yeah, I mean, so there's a death on the nukes. There's 2 deaths on the Nuke Sack. It looks like.
Yeah, Brian, we don't know what happened, but it sounds like with Google, Aaron found some information.
Commercially operated river raft had overturned on the river. 4 customers and a guide were on board. The people were swept downstream. And they were found, that happened at 3 p.m. And then at 7:30 p.m., local kayakers found a body of 1 half-mile downstream from where the raft overturned.
I mean, it sounds like there wasn't downstream containment. This is why I think I'm so fanatical about downstream safety or downstream containment is if somebody falls out, having somebody downstream to help. Or your second boat being really close to catch up.
Yeah.
Was there 1 boat trip, Aaron? Did it say?
It doesn't give that much information.
Yeah, North Yuba at 3,000. That would be a big swim. Yeah, I think lengthening making the PFD sit lower would make a difference. Left above first from other boats stuck on left above first. What's first from? First drop. Couldn't get a person held by straps so get closer to catch rope. I'm a little confused.
Above. Come on. Above. Yeah,
couldn't get a rope to us.
You've gotten stuck up there. There's that little rock up there. There's that little FU rock that you could get stuck on when you're trying to run down the drop up top before the first drop. You get stuck there really bad. It's kind of
okay. Hold on. I see what's going on here. He's stuck somewhere in Clavey. The person held his rescue strap so he could get closer to catch the rope. That's how the rescue vest came in useful. I mean, they could have held your shoulder strap probably.
Yeah, they could have held the back to the vest.
You don't have to have like a rescue strap.
Sean, that seems a stretch. Yeah, there's a lot of...
couldn't get a rope to us. Is it because their throw bags are too short? Because they can't throw throw bags? I mean, that seems. I feel like they could have got a rope. Maybe the throw bags were too short, or I don't know. Hard to pull off rocks. They'd ran drop fine. Yeah. Lots of wood after a storm.
I think we're talking about that thing. It was high water with lots of wood after a storm. We're talking about the Nook Sack.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a classic high water too. There's no eddies. It's bank full. Things get out of control really fast.
Suppression of news seems a major problem in industry. 2 clients died. Yeah, I mean, I have to say it's not something I'm dying to talk about. To be honest with you, in this format at least, it's depressing. It's not fun to talk about people that died. Yeah. Pour my life into it. Yeah, I like that too. I like that too, Sean. Well, Aaron, anything else you want to argue about before we shut this show down? Anybody have any more questions? We gotta give a prize away.
We've been on for a while. We can talk about. Are you around on Friday?
Yeah. I think we should give, if Tomas, if you're still here, you can win a prize for this week. Again, your choices are a pair of Cobra Orlocks. You can have a pair of these. You can have this wonderful raft ladder. This is in case you can't get back into raft and self-rescue. You can deploy this ladder.
And then you can claim to Zach that you tried because you got the ladder on your boat.
What?
You tried the self-rescue. You got the ladder. So you can
there you go. You can win this emergency blanket, which could become really useful, or Tim Palmer's book, beautiful coffee table book, Rivers of Oregon. Tomas, if you're still watching, which I doubt because this has been a real marathon of a show, email Aaron at riversnotions.com and we'll send you one. Tell us what you want and your address and we'll send you a prize.
That was a fun show.
Yeah. We covered a wide variety of topics today.
Yeah, we did.
I feel like, Aaron, we keep coming back to this self-rescue thing over like almost so many shows. We keep coming back to it.
I think it's an important one. Probably one of the most important. If you're going to go out there, you can go do wilderness activities, you should be able to self-rescue. Like that's part of being self-reliant. That's the whole part of being out there in a way, in my mind, is being able to take care of yourself if something happens in general. Like
here's the problem though. Let's say how many rafters do you think there are in the world, Aaron? Do you think there's 100,000?
Let's just say 100,000.
Okay.
Like serious rafters, like people, not people who just go on a commercial.
How many of those 100,000 people do you think can self-rescue?
Oh my God, I have no idea.
Half?
80,000.
Oh, so 80%. Where do you define as self-rescue?
Can
they swim to a shore? Or they have to get back in their boat?
I think 80% could probably get back into the raft. But I think
that's not what I'm saying.
But here's what I'm going to say.
Aaron,
I think a lot of internationally, most of the rafters are commercial guides who are working trips. There's not a lot of private boaters internationally. And I think that most of those commercial guides can do it. I think in other countries, the commercial guides are held to a higher standard than we're held to here in the U.S. in some ways.
That's certainly the case.
It's more of a serious.
I'm not thinking about commercial guides, being private boaters. When you see
if
a private trip,
yes, private boaters, we'd be lucky to have 50. Probably more like 40.
Brian's saying 10%.
Yeah, Brian could be right.
So, Aaron,
I'm going to be optimistic.
And let's go back to us wanting to like make YouTube a career someday. We need that 100,000 to become 1 million. If we tell if all of a sudden we tell the 100,000 people only 50% of you are allowed to be rafters, our audience gets cut in half.
We're going to tell more than 50% that they can't be.
Now, if we tell people you don't need to self-rescue to be a rafter, the size of our audience is endless. It's limitless, Aaron.
It's all about putting butts in seats for you, isn't it, Zach? It's all about making the money.
Putting viewers. I need Gear Garage viewers. I got to get that a million subscribers
10,000.
somehow.
How close are you to 10,000?
I think I'm almost 8,000.
Oh, we're getting closer.
Yeah.
Hey, so are we wrapping it up here?
Let's wrap it up.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Really nice questions today. Thanks for all your questions. And Thomas, yeah, be sure to email me, Aaron@riversnotions.com, so we can get you that and tell us which gift you want, so we can get you that cool gift sent to you. And then we're gonna have a show on Friday. Is that right, Zach?
We're gonna have a show on Friday. We're back.
We're back, and then next week I start to get busier, and so I'm not sure. I got to look at my schedule starting next week.
Okay. Well, I think I'm gone next week as well.
Okay.
So let's make this Friday a really good show. Let's try not to be mediocre anymore. We have a few videos that have been sent to us, but if any of you have more videos, please send them on.
Yeah.
Send them to Aaron@riversnotions.com. And my last question is: do you think it's Thomas or Tomas?
Oh, Tomas.
Yeah, probably.